welcome back. In this video, we're going to start setting up our third-person character and get some of the basic movement mechanics down and get that all set up, get the camera working and switchable between third-person and first-person and an adjustable camera boom. And I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. All right, welcome back. So in this section, we're going to work on a third-person character. And so the first thing I'm going to do is come up here. Now, these characters, unlike the just player first person kind of thing we did here, these characters are going to be different. There might be multiple that we can choose from. So I'm going to create a new folder here in this particular, in the characters folder, and this particular one is called Arissa. A-R-I-S-S-A. And I'm going to come over here and grab arissa.fbx and drop it in. And just say import all. And now all of the base stuff is there for Arissa. I'm going to create a new folder in here called animations. I'm going to double click on that and I'm going to grab all of the animations, drop them in. It's going to ask me for the skeletal mesh. I'm going to take the Arissa skeletal mesh and click import all. And this should set up the Arissa skeletal mesh with all of these FBXs. Now, where I got Arissa is off of Mixamo, and all of the animations for Arissa came from Mixamo. So this is the first character we're going to do. We may do several others, and once we've got maybe several of them, maybe we'll set up like a, I don't know, a party system where they follow you around, you get to pick which one you want to be and at any time throughout the game, in fact, and the others are with you. So there's all the animations. We've got an idle animation, we've got a jog, jumping, some knife. I put some attacks in here and other stuff which we'll work with over time. So I'm going to save all that so that all that stuff is saved properly. Now, what do we need to do? Well, the first thing we need to do is go ahead and set up the blueprint for Arissa. And so we want to do blueprint class. And now there's several things we can do with this. We could just start off with an actor or a pawn. I'm going to go ahead and do it with a character. You inherit a bunch of stuff when you do a character. So I'm going to call this Arissa BP. This way we have a nice naming convention for all of our different characters that we make. So I'm going to open the Arissa BP. And now we need to add a few things. Well, we've got a mesh here. So that's easy. This is a skeletal mesh. And what we can do is, we can come down here and select the Arissa skeletal mesh, and she's not really standing inside of her her box properly. So what these are all inherited, so you can't change any of this. So all we can really do is rotate her and put her down into this box properly. So the easiest way to do that is to just select the mesh here and pull it down. We can zoom in down here at the bottom, and I like to get it so her feet are right down there at the tip of this thing, because that's the collision point. Try to get it fairly accurate so that well, actually, you know what, we can change our perspective to left and zoom in here, and then we can set this very accurately. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, so we'll go back to perspective mode. Now we've got to look at, oops, I lost her. Fly up here. Okay, so this is our Arissa character. She has arrows in her quiver. We might have to go into Blender with this and do something about that so that we can maybe make those removable. I don't know, we'll decide. So there's Arissa. Not quite lined up though. We need to look at the top, and we need to rotate I believe it would be 90. There we go. And we'll look over here, minus 90. Okay, so she's pointing in the same direction of this arrow. This arrow indicates the forward direction for the character movement component. So we can compile that and go back to perspective. So the base character is now set up with pretty much the stuff she needs. She will, of course, have some stuff in her event graph here. In fact, everything that she needs, we need to redo all of the movement stuff just like we did, using the same events though, just like we did for the first person character, but they can be a little bit different. We'll have some more stuff in here. We also have to add a camera to this. I almost forgot. So in its simplest form, we can go here onto the mesh. We'll begin here with the mesh, and we'll add a spring arm. So we can just type in here spring arm. That's what we want, a spring arm. And I like to call this camera boom. I think that sounds better than spring arm. And then on the camera boom, we need to add a camera. And I like to cut. I'm going to call this Arissa camera, so that we don't get it confused possibly with other characters which may have cameras on them. So we have that. Here's the camera boom. Why am I not seeing it? It's way over here. Okay, so the camera boom needs to be in the back. And we need to, well, actually what we need to do, I'm going to undo that. I'll leave it over there for just a moment, because what I want to do is open up Arissa's skeleton here. And here on head, so this is the hierarchy of the bones in her skeletal mesh, in her skeleton or armature. And here where it says head, I want to right click on that head and add a socket, and we'll just call this head socket. Yeah, why not? That's fine. And I'm going to save that and go back here to the BP. And the first thing I want to do, because I took the camera bone and put it under the mesh, if we go to the camera boom and go here to parent socket and click on this, we will find here head socket. And the boom is now parented to her head socket. And then we can rotate that boom. Oops, not that way. Let's set that to 0. It's around the Y axis, and we want it to be 90 degrees. And then the x-axis, nope, not the x-axis rotation. Camera boom. Z-axis rotation. We want it to look down a little bit, but actually I want to raise. Okay, here's what we want to do. We just want to rotate this this camera boom up just a little bit so that the camera is looking a little bit down at the character, and we can we'll be able to see what that does shortly, and we'll leave all the rest of this alone once we've got everything lined up. So there's the camera boom, the camera, and the mesh all in place. Let's compile and save that. We'll have to fill in this event graph with some movement information, and the easiest way I think to do that will be like this. And what I'll do is I'll go through and explain this. We've already seen chunks of it, so we've already seen this. There's a jump, there's a mouse movement, so it's just the input axis into the pitch controllers and the yaw controllers. We have a crouch animation for her, so I've put in a crouch control in here, and hopefully, actually this might not compile, yeah, because we don't have the input actions set. We don't have all of the input actions set up. We need jump, and we need crouch, and we'll get to some of this other stuff. That's that unlock door piece. We need to add some variables in here and so forth, and we can fix all that. So let's start by going back here to the settings, project settings, input, and we need to add first an action mapping called crouch. And I think the crouch key will be keyboard left control. Okay, so now we should have input action crouch. So that fixed that one. Input action jump, that's going to be the space bar. So we'll add another one in here we'll call jump. And we'll select this keyboard, and it's going to be the enter pause space bar. Okay, and if we compile now, jump is good. Then we need these. We need a boolean called walking. So we'll create a variable called walking, and we'll compile. We still got an error. Where's the error coming from? Input action walk run. Okay, so we need to create a input action walk run. We'll call this walk run. And the walk run keyboard is going to be, I think, caps lock. That one's good. These should be good. What are we missing? Up here. Okay, I got a bunch of stuff up here. First person switch. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Well, yeah, we'll fix these. We got to add a new boolean here called first person mode. And we need, this is called spring arm. What we need is camera boom into here and here. We can get rid of spring arm and compile. We're still getting an error. What's this? Set spring arm length. Need a variable called spring arm length, and it needs to be a float. Change variable type. Okay. And compile. And we didn't compile spring arm. This also has to be camera boom to here and to here, and get rid of this, as I named it something different. So we're getting a yellow error, a warning. In first person toggle, what's it saying? Compiler results, first person toggle. Oh, input action first person toggle. Input action yeah, we need to create another one, and we call this first person toggle. And I use the mouse, middle mouse button for that. And compile. And it looks like we've still got a yellow. What's this one? Scroll up. Okay, one more to do. And this is actually an axis mapping called scroll up, and it's the mouse wheel axis. Compile. And we compiled. So there's all our actions. So let me explain this. This will be a little bit easier than me putting all these tedious boxes together and you watching. The scroll up action comes in here, and there's a branch that decides whether we're in first person mode or not. First person mode being this this value here, and first person mode by default is false. So we start in third person mode. So if that is false, and we are in third person mode, not first person mode, then what it's going to do is come down here and fire this set target arm length. And what it's going to set it to is a value. As it comes back through here, the axis value, it's going to add the axis value to the target arm length and set that value into, it's going to clamp it between these two values right here, between 100 and 2000. So you can't get closer than a meter or further than 20 meters away with the camera. And it's going to set the target arm length to that. And that target arm length is the camera boom length here. And then it's going to set this spring arm length, which just means it saves it. If you toggle to first person mode, this doesn't work at all. Nothing happens. If you're in first person mode, this doesn't change. It just ends right there at the true. If you toggle that first person button, what happens is it takes the first person mode and it switches it. So it's a toggle. So click it once, you're in first person mode, click it again, you're back to third person mode. It just flops us back and forth. Then it does a branch on first person mode. And if you are in first person mode, it sets the target length to 0, target arm length to 0. In other words, it snaps the camera right up to the head of our character, looking right at its face. If you are already in that mode, or rather, yeah, if you're already in first person and you're going out of first person mode, in other words, this becomes false, it sets the target arm length to that saved spring arm length that we saved up here as we adjust it. That way it goes right back to what mode you were in. So let's test this out and see if it's working. Let's go into here. Oh, we haven't set that up yet. So now what we need under our Arissa area here, we've got the animations. Did I create the Arissa blueprint in here? Where did I create characters? Arissa animations. Where did I put her blueprint? Oh, there, it's in this one. So you know what? I'm going to create another folder here. I'm going to call it, because I like to stay organized, I like to put my blueprints in a special, so I'm going to move it there. So to adjust everything. So there's our Arissa blueprint. We now need a new game mode. So here's game mode base. And this will be the Arissa game mode. And in the Arissa game mode, we're going to come over here and come down here to the default pawn class, and we're going to choose Arissa BP. And we're going to save that. Now we're going to go back to our project settings and maps and modes, and here where it says the first person game mode, we're going to select the Arissa game mode. And now if I've done everything semi-right, let's save all, save selected in case it crashes, hit play, and our camera's sideways. Okay. So clearly I did something wrong here in this setup. Probably has to do with spring arm head socket. No, we're recall having this problem before, but what we need to do is rotate this spring arm like this up to 90 degrees. Let's take a look at this. There, Z is pointing up and X is pointing forward. I think we're correct now. Okay, we don't have any animations, but we can sort of move around. And we haven't quite got our camera working right with our mouse inputs, but there's our character starting to move around. There's a little adjustment that we need to make here. Here in the character movement, we need use controller desired rotation for that. Compile and save. Let me take a look at something and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, here it rotates. What we had to do is go here to the Arissa self and turn off this use controller rotation yaw. On the capsule component, we're fine. On the mesh component, we're fine. On the camera boom, we want to have use pawn control rotation on. On the Arissa camera, we don't have that. And on the character movement, we want orient rotation to movement turned on. What that does is we can rotate around the character. As soon as we start moving, the character will face the direction of the camera. So in the next section, that might be just next, or it might be in another video, I'm not sure. We're going to set up the animations for this character, at least get the walk run working. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. We got our character all set up and ready to go. Next we have to work on animations. I'll see you in the next video. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to get notifications when I upload new videos, hit that notify button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.